Good afternoon to all of you. My name is Goutam Chakraborthy. I am CEO GAIL Gas. And previously, when I joined GAIL Gas two years back, I was looking after the Central Integrity Management Group of GAIL, which was created after 2014. And I was there as a head of that particular department. So pipeline integrity management system is very close to my heart, and I was associated with it very closely. And if you see that word integrity, if you go through the word integrity, it is, if you go for a Oxford University definition, it will tell that it is a person with a high moral and complete moral is the one of the issues which may not fit in this pipeline integrity management system. But the major thing is that integrity is that what probably pipeline integrity management system tells that you should design this pipeline in such a way that it can hold that the very purpose of this pipeline means it should be able to deliver the required pressure, temperature, and the quality of gas without putting any hazard to the outside the world and other human beings, so that the integrity has to be maintained properly. Probably that is the main reason why pipeline integrity comes into the picture. So while sharing this, because it is a very interesting topic, as I am looking after the city gas distribution business for last 2 years, so integrity issue in the city gas pipeline is always there, because the major is that it is the lines are being laid in a city, so that hazard is always there. Mostly the third party intervention hazards, and also because of we have got very less number of quality manpowers available with us, with other contractors and all. So workmanship is another issue. That is the two reason, the third party intervention and the workman issues, that integrity is always coming up in city gas distribution business throughout all the our entities are facing similar issues. So to start with, I will only try to tell some of the incidents what I have learned from my past experience of over 30 years in pipeline industries. It is very, I will just quote one or two examples of my experience, which is I have faced. It is not that I have learned from someone else. It is happened in my lifetime only. So with this, I will start the presentation. First, I will try to tell about the integrity management system. It is already there. It is, you probably have heard, because it is a 2 days conference, so you have gone through this. So just to set a tone, that pipeline integrity management system has an integrity management plan, the performance evaluation, IMP, communication plan, chain management system, and quality control. These are the 5 pillars of integrity management system that you all know, that there is a IMS regulation of PNGRV, and we are mostly following the ASME code for pipeline integrity management system. So typically this is the integrity management plan. What you all know, that first we have to collect the data and review the data, then we have to identify the threat, then all the threats are evaluated. If there is no threat evaluation, we found that the threats are not very extensive, then again we go for data collection. If it is no, then the impact is being analyzed, then risk assessment is being done, then integrity assessment is being done, then we do the mitigations and other purposes. If mitigation and response is okay, again we go to the data updation and integration part. If it is no, then again the review of the IMS. These are the typical plan hai, this is like that only. So when we go for a pipeline integrity management system, so these are the 3 things we do in the integrity, that GAIL's pipeline integrity management. One is that we have to fix the roles and responsibility of the individuals that who looking after the pipeline integrity management system of a company. We have a sound procedures and guidelines in place, and the database and analytical tools you should have so that you can do all the assessments of integrity management. So then when we come to the threat identification, there are time-dependent threats, there are time-independent threats, and stable threats. You have to identify your threats in these three categories. And there are various integrity assessment tools available with you. Mostly we are using ILI, then cathodic protection is the standard things we do. We do surveillance, thickness measurement, and health monitoring, direct assessment. Now we are doing for the unpickable pipelines and all. The hydro testing is being done. And locational class review is also, these are some of the tools which are being used for integrity management system. Now straightway I come to the experience and innovations in inline inspections. I just share one of the experience what we found. In GAIL, we have started intelligent pigging in our HBJ pipeline system. It was in 1998, we started the inline inspection of HBJ. After that, we found that when you do the inline inspection, you have got a tender specification with you, and that is very stringent. If you go through that tender specification, most of the onus is with the intelligent pigging contractor. He will get the money when he will perfectly assess your defect sizing, and after you dig verification only, you pay most of its money after that. So intelligent pigging contractors are very, very smart, so they report those defects only which is they are 100% ensured that that particular defect size and other things are okay. Then only they report it. They know that if they don't do it, there is a clause in a specification that you have to impose penalty on it. So they should be 100% sure. So when we did this pipeline assessment, we have found that there are some defects they have reported quite well, but they have missed some of the defects which they couldn't do it. Or when we go through their raw data, we have seen those defects where there are very shades of some of the magnetic signals with them. We asked them why you have not reported it. They told that they are not 100% sure of those defects. So to eliminate this, we have adopted another tool which is probably nowadays it is being extensively used. We call it as a AFD tool, the axial flaw detection tools with us. If you see that, because the physics is very simple, that normal CDP, that corrosion detection pig, MFL technology is being used. The magnets are placed in north and south direction, and the magnetic flux is like that only. In the top photos, if you see, if any defect is there, suppose one scale is been kept, if there is any defect in axial direction, there is a high possibility of that defect has not been, it is very difficult to identify through the normal CDP tool, these defects. And if the other tool that I have talking about, that is the axial flaw detection tool. If you use that tool, then if the defect is like that only, that is in the scale, it is in the axial directions, it will able to detect that defect. So it has to be a combination of these two. There is a possibility that the magnetic flux with that axial direction, if it passes, it can detect that defect also. But there is a chance that it may miss. So the intelligent pigging contractor is sometimes not very much assured of that type of defect. So this is the typical intelligent pigging tools. If you see the left hand side, it is a standard CDP tool is being used. And the second one, if you see that your sensors are located in such a way that it can see the defect in a transverse direction, so that axial defects can be detected. So these are the typically that capability of the tool. You can see the circumferential cracks and girth weld defects are difficult to be detected by the axial detection tool, but CDP, the normal MFL tool, can detect most of these. But the MFL tool is axial cracks or longitudinal seam weld defect or stress corrosion cracking type of defects. It is very difficult to be identified by the normal CDP tool, but ADT can do that. Axial defect detection tool is able to detect those three. So if you use these two tools simultaneously, so you can have a complete health profile of your pipeline. So that we have used in 2003 in our HBJ pipeline systems, and we have found that the number of defects which we are getting earlier using only the MFL tool, when we use the TFI tool or ADT tool, so the defect number of defects are much more, and some of the defects are really severe also. You can see these photographs. There is an axial groove in this particular pipeline, which earlier the MFL tool couldn't detect, because this gauge is, this axial groove was created because of probably the backhoe has been, during the third party intervention it has been created. But the normal MFL tool couldn't create this, because, but the defect, you can see that quality of defect, it is little severe. Similarly, that lamination in axial detection, it has also been missed by the normal CDP tool. But when we use the TFI tool, we can found this type of defects. Similarly, for the circumferential groove, there is one, that ADT tool has missed this defect, because as it is in a circumferential direction, so ADT tool has missed it, but normal MFL tool detected that. In some cases, stress corrosion cracking is very difficult to detect by these tools. It has to be some other tool like EMAT and other things has been come out. But if the cracks are 10% or above, then it is able to detect even this type of cracks also. So this is one of the things which we have used, that there are many knowledge, but for intelligent picking I wanted to share only this one also, because probably you are using it nowadays. Second one is a typical problem is the casing carrier shorting. It is nowadays regulations, or there are, previously it was that during NH crossing or railway crossing, you have to have a casing pipelines with you. Now probably you are get rid of those things. But what will happen if these things happen for your pipelines which laid earlier? So I wanted to share one thing. Some innovative ideas has been used during that time, and I don't want that you should copy that particular thing, because these things you require some expert over there to identify it. But if you are quite confident enough that you can do it, you can use this type of technology. It is being done by GAIL in many locations, and in most of the cases we are very successful in it. It is a typical case crossing drawing. You can see that there are zinc ribbons installed, because during that, because the pipelines is being laid with some what you call it is with casing spacers. So this pipeline has to be cathodically protected, so sacrificial zinc anodes are being used in those locations. And then there is a casing pipe and other seals and other things are already there. These are the typical standard casing pipes or casing carrier crossings used to be there at least 4 or 5 years back. So I am talking about a pipeline which is 48-inch diameter, is probably the highest size of pipeline laid in India. So there what we found that there was a casing carrier shorting, and such a huge pipeline, and generally the Vietnam people come into picture when it has been already in operation, means pipeline is completely charged, and you can see that the 48-inch pipeline is completely charged. You cannot isolate the pipeline and vent the entire pipeline and do the repair maintenance. It is impossible. So you have to do it in a charge line. So you can see that what the spacers are used to be, there are some metallic bolts are used in this particular spacers. These are the standard design. You can find out in the wherever this casing carrier pipes are being used. These are the main, these are the anodes. You can see that these anodes are sacrificial anodes are being used to cathodically protect that section under the casing carrier pipe. So what happened is because of the many things, that the mud and water, because the casing the seal of end seals are always vulnerable for this type of things, the mud and water, and because of poor workmanship or many reasons that get damaged and water seepage come into the, and then there are metallic shorting, because when you lay a pipeline, if you lay a carrier in the casing pipe, because of his weight of that carrier pipe, and after when it is being completely charged, it generally try to settle. And I have shown you that annular spacings where there are metallic bolts with it. So there is a chance that the metallic bolt get crashed and it can touch with the casing. So it is being sorted, and it is impossible to the problem is it is impossible to remove those bolts and all unless and until you lift that particular carrier pipe to a certain height so that you can remove those. It is almost difficult. And another thing what we have seen that anodes, sacrificial anodes, generally when you pull, because first you insert the casing and then you pull the carrier. So when you pull it, so there is a chance that जो anodes है, that will come out and that will touch with that your casing one. So it will get shorted. So you can see that the bolt which has been crossed, which is in a red one, this is the typically that one, that zinc ribbon touching the casing. You can see the second one. So what we do is that first it is very difficult. It is a charge line. It is a 48-inch diameter pipeline. It is first we dig that sections to check, and then we make a small inspection hole, so that we can put something so to identify that what has happened. So we have used an endoscope to use this through this hole. The first picture, which is inspection hole, has been. Then we put an endoscope over there, and we check from the video that what happened. We have seen that some of the your anode, the second one is the anode got damaged and their cable got touched. So these are the reason. Then you have to have that end. I told you that when the pipeline got settled, it is the end one which is very vulnerable, the end of that casing, where it is the bolts get shorted most of the cases. And then we have to lift that pipeline using that. I have not seen, I have not shown here that we use some jacks also, because but I told you that don't copy it because it is not advisable to use jacks and all in a charged pipeline, that too of a 48-inch dia pipeline. So we use some, these are called pneumatic inflator, which is mostly used by the fire and safety people in the plant, and where during the accident, if anything happens, they generally lift those areas. So we use some soft techniques so that we can lift a little bit and we can remove the bolts, which is at least the edges or the end of that casing. So, and again we use the zinc back, and if you see that during that time we use a Teflon roller. So the Teflon roller, so the zinc cables are being pulled to the outside of the casing using a Teflon roller, so that if at all, if it has been removed, it will not touch again to the casing. So these are again it has been restored back. This is a typical thing which has been done in the pipeline. We have done it and we are successful in 90% of the cases. So these are the typical experience sharing with you for the pipeline point of view is for. And you can use the spatial. This is a typical type of annular space where you can see that the bolts, which metallic bolt is missing here, so that there is a less chance that metallic, if in absence of metallic bolt, the sorting of metallic bolt with the pipes is being eliminated through this. But now, as most of the cases, we are not using casing carrier, even at all, it is being used. We try to protect the pipeline cathodically. We use some conducting material inside the casing, so that the entire thing should be cathodically protected unless and until that your sacrificial zinc and anodes are being used. Most of the cases now it is not being used. But in the earlier, because these are the cases in the O&M phases where the old pipelines are used. Another thing is that using digital technology is, this is another example sharing. There are techniques available free of cost with you. You can see your pipelines, how it was 10 years, 15 years back, and in the route, en route, and anything you can check whether the reporting is being done by the food patroller or your engineers while doing that, they will tell us this encroachment. Suppose you found some encroachment over there. If as a boss, if you ask when it has happened, they will tell, sir, wo to sir jab se tha us samay se hai. So it is very difficult to identify that thing. So we have found this technology. This is already available in Google. So first you have already have your GIS mapped pipeline is with you. So if you see that, suppose this pipeline, this is the encroachment you can see. So you can go to that timetable. Now time, I am just, इसको मैं 2004 तक ले गया, it was barren. So you can identify exactly at what duration it has been happened. So next you can see that there is a this is a big pipeline. So it is already inside the your water bodies. So when we asked how it has happened, we have not laid this pipeline in water bodies. They told us it's both saals hai. Again we have gone to the time zone and we have found that when it was been laid, it was 36 meters away from the water body. And it has, during that years, it has been meandering, the river was meandering, and it has come to the, it has been, if it has been reported 4 or 5 years back, we would have been protect that banks to erode that. Now it is very difficult because we have to replace this part, because this entire line is exposed in the water bodies. We have to remove that. We have to use a HDD method, and it is a costly affair. Again, see that there is a water body with it. So we have checked that it has not, it is almost, I think, the length is still there. The river meandering has not happened in these cases. This is a typical example with some of the used cases. You can do it, and it is already available on. Now you can purchase this type of facilities in Google so that you can have some more good pictures available. These I have used the already available in Google Earth. Another issue is in city gas distribution business. We use underground PE pipelines with us, which is very difficult to locate the underground city pipeline, as either you have a very good alignment sheet with you, which really depict your PE pipeline laid in this area, and also the depth of the PE pipeline, because it is very difficult because it is a non-metallic pipe. You cannot detect your PE pipes over there. So what one of our peer group used to do it, that, and we have also started it. We are using a PE pipe with a tracer wire embedded on PE pipe. It is a 1.2 mm copper pipe. It is embedded on a PE. When you can see that there is a yellow strip is there. So it is embedded in it. So we ordered the pipe in such a way that it should have a tracer wire with it, so that in later stage we can identify the length and the depth of the pipeline, as well as we can locate the pipeline using a normal your pipeline locator जिससे आप metallic pipe detect करते हो. So this is a technique which is being used. One of our peer group, and as a GAIL we have also started these activities, and it is quite good. The problem is that nowadays people are doing HDD. It is very successful when it is in open cut method, because it is not damaged, but when you do a HDD method, during pooling there is a high possibility that this tracer wire got removed, and then it will be you will not be able to do the intended, your advantage will not be there. And that time, because these are the things, probably it is being still avoided. If it is just after they construct the PE pipes, they generally use this tracer wire just in the surface of the pipelines, and it is highly susceptible for the damage. If it can be laid inside the seat, so probably the damage will be less, but the CGD entities will be highly benefited if you use this. And I am telling you, it is hardly 5% cost increase in normal PE line. So it is hardly anything. But if you use this, you can avoid many damages which is being done by third party. Even your own contractor will damage because they will not know that exact depth of the PE pipe. This is another experience sharing, and we are using it. But in some cases where we do the HDD, now most of the CGD lines are done through HDD, so these people are facing little problem with it. Otherwise, if it is done in the open cut, it will be a highly successful one. Now, the NG pipeline leakage, if you see that it is a mostly steel pipeline generally doesn't leak much, but the PE lines which in CGD entities are using is because of the poor workmanship, because there is jointing kits, there risers are there where we distribute it to the homes. So it is the gas, methane leakage is very, very common. And you see that the CO2 is, means methane is, I think, it is very dangerous to the atmosphere. It is 80 times more harmful than CO2, if you see that. And 30% of the global warming is being done by this methane leakage, what we are doing. Apart from that, this is as far as commercial entity like us is concerned, so it also money. If you arrest the unaccounted leakage, it ultimately this costly gases, now it is $12 to $13 per MMBTU, CNG, then natural gas. You can, if you can arrest these leakages, you can have a better realization of your money. So some techniques we have used that the normal in naked eye probably you will not be able to identify some of the leakages, but there are some thermal imaging of if you done that like this. This is a valve, and this is the leakage, quantity of leakage. It is a little bit quite high, but if you, unless and until, generally हम लोग क्या करते हैं जो we use a brown tape and then we put a small hole, then we take the LEL over there and we check that whether it is there. But sometimes it is not feasible to check all the valves in your plant. So this is one of the things where you, if you can understand, these are typically a valve stem where there is a leakage. It is very common used. If you can use it, probably tightening those bolts will avoid this type of leakages. And these are the vents. The vents, you will find is always there is a leakage in there because the complete isolation of valves is very difficult. So this is typically done. This is one of the flange connections, if you can see the quantity of gas leakages. So these thermal cameras, little bit costly cameras are available now in the market. If you can use it, so it can probably help our Mother Earth to survive a little bit more, because this is very dangerous. The methane emission is very dangerous to our Mother Earth. So with this, I conclude my session. Very thank you to all of you to listen patiently, and I will always request you to encourage the use the green fuel with you at your home, with your car. This is one thing being a CEO of GAIL Gas, I request you. Thank you very much.